Hey party people, it's Cliff. I'm done listening to people complain. I'm done. I think it's more of a, and it's not the bringing up of issues and discussing them and talking through, real problems of the day, uh like there's real problems, and then there's kind of like complaining about things that really don't matter. And I remember that the latest Harry Potter game that came out, everybody was so up in arms about it. Everybody was upset and this and that, and Warner Brothers. And as soon as the game released, Warner Brothers laughed all the way to the bank, because that game made however much money, and like all of that complaining sort of went away. And it's this complaining. The latest is basically Christopher Nolan's like Odyssey trailer, and I said this before. It's like, I'm not gonna go see it because that's not my like cup of tea. If it was the Odyssey and it's like a sci-fi epic adventure and in space and all that, I'm down. Like let's go. But I'm not a classical or I'm not like a historical movie person. Now, granted, like there are great historical movies, right? Braveheart, Troy comes to mind, like back in the day. Of course, I'm wrapping those two together. Troy is no Braveheart. What else? Like Game of Thrones is one of those like weird ones where it's kind of like a little magical twist. But it's, yeah, and you know what? I tended to like. I basically think like, I would go, if I'd go see the Odyssey, I would enjoy it, but I'm not jumping hurdles to go see it, And that's the thing that gets me like, not riled up, but just, the culture of just complaining about stuff, oh, like this movie is not the way it is, or this thing isn't the way it is. Oh, woe is me. And it's like, all right, well, you guys, you have the complete right to your opinion, but I'm just kind of done listening to folks. The game that I'm playing right now, Pragmata, I actually couldn't pronounce it right this time. But the game I'm playing right now, Pragmata, everybody's saying like, oh, it's, I don't even know what the drama is. I just know that there's drama to it. And I'm sitting there and I'm playing this game and I'm like, this game's amazing. The story is great so far. I've only gotten to the second area. The gameplay is cool, like there's a whole bunch of different hacks that you can do, and the world building is so far so good. And I'm just like, yeah, great, awesome. Like in our world today, like sex and violence is what sells. That's the classic Hollywood saying. It's like, you want to sell something, you make it violent, you make it sexy. And then if you combine those two together in violent, sexy, then people are going to watch it. Why? Because it's not normal. And, it keeps your attention, right? And so part of that, violence and sexy, you can add into it, is basically drama. I mean, comedy and drama, like those are the two essential storytelling devices. And so drama, whenever you complain about something, you're actually causing or creating fake drama, in that world. And it's kind of like, that's what people watch. They want to see like the Jerry Springer of the shows, or the Maris, or they want to see, and that's basically the basis of all reality shows, is like, I don't want to be these people, or I do want to be these people. And that's pretty much it. Every single like if you apply that to every single documentary you've ever watched, like, I don't want to be those people, or I do want to be those people, then that explains every single reality TV show that has ever existed. Mythbusters, really cool documentary show. Like, I want to be there. I want to do some of those experiments, with those guys back in the day. Right? Like Dirty Jobs. That'd be cool to like experience some of those jobs, going out into rural America, talking with people and doing some of those and learning how like society works. That'd be cool. Jersey Shore. I don't want to get to know any of those people. I want to stay the fuck away from Jersey Shore and any of that like stuff. Kardashians, the same. Or the Osbournes, the same. Don't want don't want to deal with any of that mess, right? You know, and then you get your magazine shows, right? Like your Access Hollywood, where it's like, look at this drama and look at that drama, and that's all it is. It's drama, right? And then you get your legal stuff, like the whole Blake Lively thing, and then before that it was Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, and before that it was, or there's this one, apparently there's this football player with this other woman, and then Michael B. Jordan, you know, had a girl, and then she left, and she wanted to find like what was more, all of that stuff, right? I know it's a funny video because it's like, you know, oh, I'm done listening to people complain, but at the same time I'm like, well, I have to kind of know this stuff because that's my job. Funny how it all works. But I'm really, I guess the thing is, right, if you listen to people complain enough, then you get wrapped into that world. You become a part of it, like, and you know, you're not even knowing it. It's and that's the tribal mentality for humans, right? You're sitting around a campfire, you're with the people to survive. You know, that's our, like, you know, that's our core, like, human tradition, is like working together with other people to survive. But in this day and age, it doesn't quite work out that way, because you can find multiple tribes, you can find multiple different people, and what happens is that if you're not consciously aware of all these like subtle behavioral mechanics going on like in your life, then you'll be susceptible to a tribe that you don't want. And you know, I was reading a book called The Cult of Trump, and you know, my sister is was sort of in that realm of people, but now they're not in the realm of people, and now she's not, or is, I don't know. She did get a job though, so I'm really happy about that. We'll see if she can keep it like the other ones. I'm gonna go around this guy because, well, not me going around this guy, the person behind me came up real fast, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm not gonna mess with you. You can go. I'm not gonna complain. And that's the thing, right? Is like, if you watch YouTube or social media and you see all these people, like, you know, complain about the movies and complain about, like, you know, this thing and complain about that thing, when it's really a giant nothing burger, you know, you get sucked into that world, and then your beliefs start to slowly adapt to theirs. And that's the thing you want to prevent. You know, you always want to surround yourself with good people, you know, people with a straight mind in their head, people who are smarter than you. Like, there's this one guy, Dana Love, financial guy, PhD. Like, he makes YouTube videos. He has maybe like 5,000 subscribers. But man, when he talks about the essence of how the economy works, and how the economy operates in the same way, you know, in like the 1800s as it does today, and you're like, this is exactly how it's going on with like crypto, with AI, with all the latest stuff. You're just like, yeah, that's the person I want to listen to. Like, he basically lays it all out. Very smart guy. I've learned more about finances in the last like 10 of his videos than I have in the past like 40 years. Granted, 40 years ago I was 5 years old, so I don't know how much finance I would listen to. Maybe I could convince my parents to get a lollipop or something. You know, do it that way. You know, I drive by this like Pilates place. I always like calling it Pilates for some reason. But it's women only Pilates place, and I just know that because it's like a giant whatever it is on the side of the whatchamacallit, on the building. It's just like women only gym. I'm like, all right, great. I don't know, like it doesn't I don't even know why I came up with that. It's just like driving on the road, you know? It's like, I'm trying to let this guy get around me, but whatever. He's fine. He'll figure it out. You know, I remember one time I was at the mall. You know, those places still exist, maybe. But I was at the mall, and I was a young kid in a car, me and my friends, and we were sitting there, and it was packed, and like somebody was trying to back out, and there's two cars ahead, and I wasn't trying to take the space, but the guy couldn't back out because the two cars in front of me were so close together that the guy all the way in front wanted to back up and like go on in. And so I remember sitting there, my friend Eric, he passed away a little bit ago, bless his heart. But we sat there, and people were honking, and and he was just like, let them figure it out, just sit here and wait. And you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and wait. And then the guy two cars down, like, looks at the guy in front of me. Who knows? I don't know what that guy looks, but he comes up and he looks at my car. He looks at me, probably because we're just some dumb, stupid kids. And he's like, back the fuck up. And my friend Eric and I are like, no, we're not backing the fuck up. You drive forward and get yourself another parking space. Oh man. The small little things that people complain about, that people, I mean, it's like, people complain about the price of eggs. Man, I don't know. There's probably some legitimate, like, authentic, complaints, right? Like a business owner out here in California had a homeless encampment next to his building, that kept piling up, piling up. And then one day they started a fire. Burned, I don't know if it burned their business down, but it disrupted their business. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, that's a legit complaint. It's like, hey, look, like, I'm all about like getting people homes and putting them in in good stuff. Oh geez, somebody get arrested here. Oh man, the poor guy. Well, that's a legitimate complaint. Like, the officer, it's like, it's so weird, right? Because it's the first time I've seen somebody get arrested. There was one time, I might even make an edit in this video just so you could see it. But on my drive to work, there was a car chase right around that area, and golly, it's one of those things, man. Like, you look at that, right? Like, somebody just getting arrested across the street. I know you can't see it because it's like it was on the other side, it was behind. But yeah, the officer there is a BMW. He's searching the car, and I know it's because in school you're not taught to basically, like, don't talk to the police. That's the unfortunate thing today. Is that a Corvette? That is a Corvette. Why is this guy, like, man, he's coming to hit me. Oh man, everything that's interesting happens behind the camera, like, not only in Hollywood, but as I'm driving. But yeah, that's one thing. I follow a couple YouTube videos where it's like, all right, don't talk to the police, don't answer questions, like, I do not consent to searches or seizures. And part of me is like, if that kid, like, maybe he's got a warrant for his arrest, maybe he's got some substance in the car and the officer needs to arrest him. But now he's in the system and he's in the court. And, like, part of my inkling is basically to take that camera and go over there and basically say, like, all right, well, as long as everybody's doing everything correctly, that's fine. But oftentimes that doesn't. Now, that's a legitimate complaint. And then those complaints can go to the courtroom. I actually did jury duty. I didn't do jury duty, but I was summoned for jury duty. And, you go into the court and they choose a whole bunch of people. And then I don't even know what the case was about, but they, you basically go into a room and then they say, okay, here's this. Like, are you, these people stand up, go over here. Those people, if you have this condition and you can't serve jury duty, go over here and we'll see if your reason's whatever. And then I was in the courtroom for, like, just 8 hours a day. Went over to Little Tokyo, so that was nice. But that's the system, that's part of it. And there is legitimate complaints that come out of that are worth it. But complaints that are that are just like surface level, like, oh, I don't like this movie coming out, or, oh, I can't believe that, you know, insert company, store here, or not selling their favorite items anymore, or the price of whatever keeps going up. The price of whatever that keeps going up. That's kind of a legit. That's half legit, half not. It depends. It depends on your situation, right? But yeah, I'm kind of done like hearing people complain and like, oh, curse the world, woe is me, because at the end of the day, it's like, all right, that, it's a cursed world, it sucks. Like, how do you get out of the situation? I mean, it's funny because, I've tried to do the whole, get a girlfriend, get married, have kids, all that stuff. And, I really got to thank all those women because they all said no. And because they all said no, I'm just like, all right, well, fine, I'm going to do my own thing. And that's when I moved to Hollywood, and that's when I made it in this stupid town. I don't call it stupid. I think it's great. But also at the same time, I'm like, that's another topic for another time. But I really think if you really want to be like wealthy and rich and like have a good sense of finances, is like, don't get married. Don't get married. I've had like in my personal life, I've had my like so many people get divorced, so many people at work get divorced, and like, the women took half their stuff, and I'm like, I can't get married. I can't, because I earned all my stuff and I'm gonna keep it. And that's the other thing too. It's not really complaint. Well, I guess that's a legitimate complaint too, right? It's like the system and the ethics and the way that things are. But I don't know. I'll leave you with that. I'm done complaining. I'm done complaining. Oh man, that's fun. All right, I'll wait for these guys to go. But I hope you guys have a good day and be safe out there and do cool things. Bye.